Welcome to the very first monthly portfolio update for Snackable Wealth. I'm going to make this a continuous series where every month I'm going to post an update regarding my portfolio, including how much I've made over the last month and a running year-to-date total as well. I'll go into detail about what I'm buying and selling in my accounts and why, and I'm also going to go over some market factors and forward-looking insights as well. So without further delay, let's do a deep dive on my portfolio and get into it. Let's go. To recap, July was a pretty outstanding month for the markets. The US market in particular was making new all-time highs almost every single day. Bitcoin hit a new all-time high of over $120,000. Gold was relatively flat, and both Canada and the US held their interest rates steady. Here's how my account grew in July, excluding contributions. My TFSA, which is comprised only of XEQT, was up $3,344.15. There's not too much to talk about here because it's just the one fund within my TFSA, but either way, I'm happy with the return. My RRSP ended the month $1,416.68 higher. Now, my RRSP holds both XEQT and some bonds that I keep in that account as well, just to reduce volatility and lower my equity risk. I obviously also hold bonds in my RRSP because bond interest is taxed as income, and of course any gains within an RRSP are also going to be taxed as income when you withdraw it as well, so I'd prefer to pay tax on those interest gains at a later point in time when I'm in a lower tax bracket. It really doesn't make sense to hold bonds in a non-registered account, so I put them in the RSP. Speaking of my non-registered account, here's where it gets a little more interesting. I want to let it be known that I do actually make trades in my non-registered account. My TFSA and RSP are, for the most part, completely passive, but my non-registered account does have some trading activity in it. Over the past month, this account grew by $2,766.75. Most of that is largely attributable to two things. One of those being that I did short Bitcoin, and also I was writing covered calls on the S&P 500 ETF SPY. It seemed pretty apparent to me that Bitcoin was at least temporarily overbought, so I did short at $120,000. I have now since closed this position and I am no longer short Bitcoin, but I did end up making some profits by shorting at 120K. As for SPY, I typically do run an option wheel on SPY, so I sell covered calls on it all the time. I know that options are not something that I've yet talked about on my channel, but I do promise in the future I have plans to make videos on options. So if you're new to them, you want a little more understanding, they will be coming, just be patient. And so I guess now that I've finally talked about Bitcoin, or at least one crypto on my channel, I'm going to have to address this. First, I want to let it be known that I do hate crypto. I think it's ridiculous. I'm probably going to annoy some people with that, but hey, you can't please everyone. Now, that doesn't mean I'm uneducated or I don't understand what's going on. In fact, I've known about Bitcoin for more than 10 years. I was mining it in 2017. I've staked Ethereum. I've bought and sold NFTs. I've done it all. As it stands right now, though, I only have a very small position in Bitcoin at the moment. I don't have any other cryptocurrency, nor do I have any current plans to own any other cryptocurrencies at all. So, no Ethereum, no Solana, no meme coins, just Bitcoin. That's all I have. With that being said, the value of my crypto account went up by $631.27 last month. Like I said, it's a small amount. Now, if we're to add up all the returns for all of those accounts, we get a total return of $8,158.85 for the month of July. Not bad. I'll take it. The total year-to-date return in my portfolio from January 1st to July 31st, 2025 is $20,755.25. Looking forward, I expect that the US will lower rates slightly in September. I imagine Canada is going to follow more or less in lockstep with the US in terms of lowering rates as well. as earnings in the market still seem to be quite strong. We're seeing good numbers, especially from some of the bigger names out there like Meta, Microsoft. I don't think that there's any reason for any large short-term pullbacks in the market. Of course, we've got Trump and all the tariff issues, but a lot of those have already been ironed out, at least with some of the big players. So there's some other smaller countries that still need to have their deals completed. But I think that will go ahead and that will happen. So I'm not too concerned about the tariffs. If there are any moves up or down in terms of those tariffs, I think it's going to be just some short-term volatility. So I'm not too worried about those, at least, from a downtrend point of view. With that being said, I think it's pretty business as usual. I mean, the huge focus, as I just mentioned, was the tariffs, but I think that's sort of waning off. That's kind of old news now. So I think more or less, as long as the earnings stay up. I know that some of the job numbers that have been coming out haven't been the greatest. So we're going to have to see what happens with that. But I don't see any real negativity. So I'm going to stick to my current plan, which is buying XEQT and gold going forward. I am going to keep my eye on Bitcoin and oil as well for any possible trades to see if I can make some extra money there. And I will continue selling covered calls and doing an option wheel on SPY to generate some extra, juice for my portfolio. That just about sums up my first monthly portfolio update. I know this video may not be as clean cut and polished as some of my other ones, but I wanted this to be more real. I want to try to do most of it in one take. I don't want to practice or, make it seem extremely well done. I want it to be real and show you exactly what I'm doing. I want it to come from, my heart, from myself right here, right now. So I didn't provide any sort of script for myself when I made this. It's kind of just off the top of my head. The only thing I really did, of course, was go and have those numbers and memorize those numbers for you so I didn't have to look at my screen. But please let me know what you'd like to see from these monthly portfolio updates. I want to make it better for you, helpful for you, keep it entertaining if I can. So let me know what you want to see going forward. Thank you for watching Snackable Wealth. Make sure to hit that subscribe button to see the next monthly portfolio update and so that you don't miss any future ones. Until next time, see ya.